these combat sports, it got to come from the fighters. You know, just like boxing, I think if the fighters come together, they can make anything happen. The fighters don't understand the level of power that they carry because they think, oh, since they cutting a check, they got the power.
Right.
You know, but they can't cut the check without us. You know, but it's the fighters that need the money that makes it hard.
Right.
Because the fighters that already got the money, they can make a stand for something. But the fighters that doesn't, they like, well, you can do that. I got to provide for my family. You can take a chance of going at the organization for a year or however long it's gonna last, but who gonna pay my bills?
Right.
Who gonna put food on my family table while we doing this, while we making a stand? So it's a little tougher for them to make that stand than a person that's already established.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's where, you know, the seesaw effect happens with boxing and UFC.
TKO Group Holdings just released their 2025 financial results, revealing some fascinating numbers for the UFC. The promotion pulled in $150 billion in revenue, representing a solid 7% year-over-year bump worth roughly $96 million in additional income. What's truly remarkable is their operational efficiency, with the UFC maintaining an incredible 57% profit margin that demonstrates just how financially powerful this MMA giant has become. But here's the twist. For the first time since TKO's formation, WWE actually outpaced the UFC in both total earnings and raw profits. WWE crushed it with $1.709 billion in revenue, a massive 22% increase that's largely thanks to their game-changing Netflix media rights deal. Despite some overall revenue softness at TKO due to IMG's post-Paris Olympics decline, both combat sports properties delivered impressive operational results. Terence Crawford recently weighed in on the UFC fighter pay controversy during his Joe Rogan Experience appearance, offering what he believes could be the solution. The debate intensified after Conor Benn's reported $15 million Zuffa boxing deal sparked outrage among UFC athletes who earn significantly less than this relatively unknown boxer. Crawford's take is straightforward. UFC fighters actually possess more leverage than they think, but only if they're willing to unite. He argues that collective action and solidarity among fighters is the only path to meaningful pay increases.
Head movement! 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 Yes, move! Head movement! Good job! Head movement! Head movement! Head movement! Good job! More, move! More, please! 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 No! No! Head movement! Head movement!
TKO Group Holdings president Mark Shapiro clarified during their quarterly earnings call that Conor Benn's reported $15 million payday isn't coming from UFC coffers. While Shapiro wouldn't confirm the exact figure, he emphasized that TKO isn't funding Benn's purse for his upcoming 2026 super fight. Instead, Sela, the Saudi entertainment company led by Turki Al-Sheikh, is covering the entire cost, just like they did for the Canelo Crawford bout. This financial arrangement keeps TKO's books clean, while still allowing Zuffa Boxing to make major signings. Global Fight League announced their return to the MMA scene through Instagram, revealing they've been quietly rebuilding their foundation. The startup promotion unveiled their new Athlete Performance and Wellness Council, featuring recognizable names like Tyron Woodley, Mike Goldberg, Hector Lombard, Benson Henderson, and Kat Zingano. Their message emphasized a fresh approach centered on athletes and fans, with more announcements coming soon. Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey dropped some training footage that has everyone talking, showcasing crisp boxing combinations and slick head movement that suggests she's been staying sharp.
That matchup.
I didn't see him call me out, but I saw him talking to Sean O'Malley and calling out, what's his name? Ilya. I didn't see him call me out, but I think he has his weight classes confused. Like, I think he doesn't know that lightweight in boxing is different than lightweight in the UFC. Because he's lightweight in boxing is like 135, I believe, and lightweight in the UFC is of course 155. So I don't think he knows that. I don't know why. If he did call me out, that's kind of crazy. Why the hell would he want to fight me for? Did he say why he called me out?
Max Holloway isn't impressed by Dean the Great's call-outs of top UFC stars as he prepares to defend his BMF title against Charles Oliveira at UFC 326. Dean the Great, whose real name is Naradine Shabazz, went viral after being assaulted by former UFC fighter Tiki Ghostan at a house party and has since challenged Dana White to send UFC fighters for boxing matches. Shabazz specifically called out Sean O'Malley, Ilia Topuria, and Holloway himself, promising victories over all of them. During a recent Kick livestream, Holloway responded to the challenge, calling the whole idea crazy and questioning why Dean would even want to pursue this path.
Se habla, o sea, hablando mucho, ¿no?, sobre la función en Casablanca. En este caso, digo, hay tiempo, quizás suficiente, ¿no?, dependiendo de cómo salgas de este sábado. ¿Te gustaría también tú alzarías la mano, quizá para poder pelear en Casablanca? ¿Y crees que esa función quizá también necesitaría algún talento de México?
Hermano, quiero que tú me contestes por qué yo quisiera pelear ahí.
Pues es muy emotiva, ¿no?, pues esa función.
¿Para quién?
Para la empresa.
¿Para ti?
Para la empresa.
No estoy tan interesado. Muchas gracias.
Brandon Moreno made his feelings crystal clear about the potential UFC event at the White House that President Donald Trump personally requested from Dana White. During UFC Media Day in Mexico City, the former flyweight champion was asked if he'd want to participate in such a historic card. Without hesitation and with obvious annoyance, Moreno completely shut down the idea and wants absolutely no part of the high-profile Washington, D.C. showcase.
He's earned his chance to fight for that belt. Now imagine that Hamza is here in the United States preparing for that fight with Imavov. That would be my guess if I am thinking about what's next. But the reality is, one, how difficult is it going to be for him to get back down to 185? Because I'm telling you, he looks massive next to Roundtree. Two, how will he compete when he's back down there? And three, how does Imavov deal with the size of Hamza Chimaev at this point? Because while Imavov was a 185-pounder, Hamza was at 170, Chimaev looks like the bigger guy. He looks like the much bigger fighter. Now, I'm telling you, you guys have to watch that training footage. He looks like a monster at over 200 pounds. Hamza Chimaev also has the Sean Strickland issue to deal with at 185. These guys cannot stand each other. Look, guys, when you are two athletes of the highest caliber and you have trained together and you have fought in sparring, one of those guys knows, or someone knows exactly what happened. But as most say, what happens in the gym stays in the gym.
Caio Borralho refuses to buy into the narrative that Reinier de Ridder is a quitter following de Ridder's inability to answer the bell for the final round against Brendan Allen. While some fans question de Ridder's heart after that performance, Borralho expects the best version of his opponent when they meet in the UFC 326 co-main event on March 7th. Borralho told MMA Junkie that de Ridder took necessary time off and will return motivated to prove he's not a quitter, which creates internal power that should lead to his best performance ever. The Brazilian is looking to rebound after his September 2024 loss to Nursultan Imavov at UFC Paris ended his incredible 14-0, one no-contest streak over his previous 15 fights. Daniel Cormier expressed concerns about Hamza Chimaev's ability to make the 105-pound limit again, especially for a potential bout with Nursultan Imavov. After seeing recent training footage of Chimaev working with Kaios Williams and Luke Rockhold, Cormier noted on his YouTube channel that Hamzat looked enormous even next to natural light heavyweights. DC suggested that another brutal cut to middleweight could unnecessarily strain Chimaev's body and proposed a move to 205 pounds where he could compete without draining himself and potentially unlock an even better version of his skills.
I can see Hamza Chimaev becoming a two-division champ. I really do. Stylistically, bro, he's big. He
Big
can
enough,
wrestle,
and he's stout,
he can strike.
Can you imagine a light heavyweight wrestling like that? The champion has called for Pereira how many times now?
How can you do that without defending? The only
Yeah,
one
but
that,
he
the only one that was able to do that was Conor McGregor.
Maybe that weight cut, he doesn't want to make that weight cut anymore.
I agree with you. He's big, bro. I think the light heavyweight division would be a better division for him. I feel like 185 pounds is a little more stacked.
I agree. A mix-up with him in there would make that division a lot more exciting.
We've got one of the most
Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman echoed similar sentiments on their Pound for Pound podcast, arguing that Chimaev's size and frame are better suited for light heavyweight competition. Both former champions believe a move to 205 pounds would benefit Hamzat physically while injecting fresh excitement into that division.
Fluffy could probably make welterweight. That's my honest opinion. He could probably make welterweight because he's not the most hard-bodied. He's maybe a little soft-bodied, and I think maybe that's hence the nickname Fluffy, right? And he needs to maybe work on that because he could be a champion, certainly in the welterweight division, certainly at middleweight because the man was on a ridiculous 8-5 winning streak.
Michael Bisping's suggestion that Anthony Hernandez should drop to welterweight after his loss to Sean Strickland didn't sit well with everyone involved. Bisping questioned whether Hernandez looks like a true middleweight based on his physique, prompting a fierce response from Hernandez's wife, who defended her husband on social media, pointing out it was his first loss in 6 years and that UFC doctors had already determined he physically cannot make 170 pounds. Here are today's top 3 MMA memes from around the internet, starting with number 3 from Scrapadilly. Number 2 comes courtesy of Hilarious MMA. And taking the top spot is this gem from Midwinter Path. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for your daily MMA coverage. We'll catch you again tomorrow with more updates from the world of mixed martial arts.